Wake up, Shinigami. You're chugging bleach with the only podcast that unlocks your bunkai.
Welcome to Chugging Bleach. I'm your host, Orihime Bobske. With my co-hosts, as usual, Anime Danime from GigaBoots.com.
Glad to be here. I am a huge fan of Chugging Bleach.
Don KZ from KZ Excellent at Twitch.com. Wait. Oh, I'm sure that's it. And Mr. Bonkai from Twitter at MrFeel.com.
Good enough. grab that domain before this comes out.
Just shove that shit into Google. It'll do something.
This is the show where we watch all of Bleach despite everyone knowing that's a bad idea to do.
Hey, I think it'll be over 2 presidential terms from now.
Yeah, it won't take that long. It'll be fine.
I'm sure we'll speed it up along the way. But, well, we lost 5 episodes for the first episode here. That is episode 1, A Day I Became Shinigami, or the Japanese title, A Shinigami is Born. I'm not going to go through all these. There's too many.
Yeah.
So there's 5
that
episodes.
Sounds like a bad idea.
I don't think anyone wants you to read 10 titles.
5.
Yes. I don't think they even have episode titles in these episodes. You have to go look them up.
Yeah, no, I was looking for them.
You have a big number on the screen.
It does, however, go Bleach, episode 4, part B.
Yes, it does tell you that.
Yeah, that's the. Do you think when they restart the anime, there'll be an episode where they just put the episode title on Yoruichi's ass?
Oh man, just like the manga.
Yes.
I was probably, I wouldn't be surprised if they put a big number on her butt at some point during the regular run. Feel, can you tell me how people can pay us for doing this series?
Mr. Feel, can you tell people about the great value, best value that we offer as a podcast network?
Yes, please.
Well, if you'd like to fuck you pay me and get things in return, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/GBPodcast. In addition to getting Chugging Bleach early, you also get many other benefits for as little as $5 a month. Benefits such as early access to Mondo Cool, that's our Dragon Ball movie review podcast, extended armchair dev pitches, cursed commentary tracks, and cursed content by committee, that's our Patreon exclusive show, and other benefits. That's patreon.com/GBPodcasts.
And with that out of the way, let's get to Chugging Bleach.
Exciting. So, Dan, you want to take me through episode 1?
I would love to take you through episode 1. Luckily, I took pages of notes because this is actually, for those who don't realize, my first time watching Bleach. I think I saw...
We have a blind person, people.
He put a bleach in his eyes already.
I think I caught...
Just the image with the subs. That's hell you're walking into.
I think I caught 8 minutes of the end of an episode near the end of the first season back when it aired on Adult Swim in 2005? 6?
That's when I first watched it. I remember catching the first episode and sticking with it.
I just certainly didn't catch the first episode. In fact, I caught none of these episodes.
I guess we should probably go over like how much each of us has seen of this before.
Yeah, we should do that. Let's. Hey, Bob, how much of this have you seen?
I've watched all of it except some of the Soul Rebellion arc because that's really bad filler. And I started basically a few weeks after the show started and watching it in the Japanese run.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's dire. How about you, Feel?
I started watching the anime when it was about 26 episodes in originally. Then I got to the end of how much anime there was and picked up the manga and then read the manga weekly until it was over.
Oh, that sounds... I can't deal with that.
So what was that, 2 or 3 years or?
I think 15.
I can't.
Yeah, once I hit the end of the anime with that Rebellion arc,
They can't be 15. That's over half my age.
Right? And then I waited till like 2 years ago to finish reading the manga.
That sounds like a pretty good move. I don't know.
I bet it was a better move than reading it weekly was, especially near the end.
I
What
tried
are you
that.
talking about? It was a brisk 2-minute read.
It was. I did that for a couple of years, and it was literally once a week I'd read something for 1 minute.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
There were no backgrounds to look at, so you got through it quickly.
So KZ, what's your history with Chugging Bleach?
I watched it when it started airing over here in the States on television, and stuck with it for the first, I guess, couple full seasons until they ran out. And then I finally just started watching it on the internet and checking it out subbed. And eventually I just started going through the manga, I think for about 7 years until it was done.
It's a lot.
So yeah. Yeah. When I looked at the date that the final arc started and ended, it really put into perspective how much time I had used.
Time well spent.
You know, I feel like maybe we should have done this because everyone's tone seemed to scare the hell out of me. So
Don't worry about it.
Oh no, I was just talking about I've been with it for a long time. Bleach, one of my favorites.
Okay.
Unironic.
Taste creator.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Bob, it's supposed to get rid of the taste. That's what Bleach does.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well.
Anyway, we saw the first 5 episodes of season 1. I took a lot of notes here because this is a
Good.
very deep anime. It's basically Ghost in the Shell, but with swords and ghosts.
Yes, that is
I
correct.
thought what I'd do is pretend I was one of those deaf mutes.
We have an exciting first episode about Ichigo beating up punks for knocking over some flowers that were sitting in a nice little bottle on a curb, which was apparently for a dead character. And after he beats them up, you get introduced to this dead girl who is a very C-grade character design. Her eyes are a bit too far apart. It feels a little case closed B-teamish.
Look, Dan, all of the art in these first arcs are really bad.
They are.
Also, they had to make up how she looked because I think in the manga, knocking over that vase made her drenched in blood.
Oh.
Like her face was literally smashed in from it being knocked over.
I
Oh.
never got that impression. I just figured that's what she looked like because that's how she died. But
Oh.
Maybe that's more what it is. But yeah, she has like half her face caved in the manga.
That's intense.
Raw.
some things can't make it to TV. This really was like the worst time for anime. Unfortunately, I love this show, but man, DigiPaint.
DigiPaint. We'll
Censors,
get
everything
a lot
really-
of time to talk about DigiPaint in our intro and outro review.
Honestly, like every single shonen anime that came out before, they were just like, just do seasons. It doesn't have to run forever. Took an L.
No, it's fine. This is from the same studio that decided for over a decade to churn out weekly episodes of Naruto and Bleach. It's the same studio for both of them.
True Chads.
Yeah, I would say the nature of the industry at that point and going forward to some extent, a much reduced extent, was genre defining. In that you sure can tell what it's just like. We're catching up to the manga. Do anything else? But let's get through this first episode at least. After the ghost girl shows up and is like, "Thank you for beating up those children who knocked over a bottle. It makes my soul feel more at rest."
The 40-year-old delinquents who were skateboarding.
Yes.
I love that. They're probably high schoolers.
The villains from Paul Blart.
Yes! No!
We find out that Ichigo is 15 years old and sees the souls of the dead. And then his parent runs a clinic. His little sister seemed to be one of them. I do not remember the name of which one can see it.
Karin can see them.
Karin can see ghosts. The other one cannot. So apparently this is just a thing that they've got going on there.
Yeah, everybody's used to it.
Yes, at least they are in that family. I don't think anyone outside of that family's used to it. Chad seems to be used to whatever comes at him, but But we get a brief introduction to the family and some other stuff like that, and that's when a scary luchador ghost seems to break out and wants to eat the ghost girl from before. That thing's really weird and has a weird mask, so I assume it's luchador based.
Yeah, all of them are definitely luchadors.
Okay,
Yep.
it's weird that all these luchadors are evil.
Finally, the sequel to Mucha Lucha I've been waiting for.
Yes, having
Dan,
her.
stop being prescient.
This is bad. Rukia shows up and is pretty cool. Appears after a butterfly flies in front of Ichigo's face. I wrote down here, though I think this isn't correct. This scene where they introduce Rukia and the Hollow and all this other stuff is about 4% the length it was in the live action movie. It was incredibly brief in this episode, and I feel like it goes on for 8 minutes.
Wait a minute.
What?
Dan,
what?
are you telling me that you had this is your first time engaging with Bleach aside from the live action movie on Netflix?
Yes, that is correct. I have seen every live action adaptation of an anime.
That's pretty rough.
You know when we started these episodes and Netflix says the ratings for self-harm, you're getting me there.
Yeah, no, the movie should be labeled as that too, for sure.
Oh no.
It's a lot to deal with. I'm not gonna dwell on that much longer though. So Ichigo sees Rukia pop up. She's like, I'm not used to being seen. Apparently this Ichigo child must be defective in some way because he can see me. And then she after insulting him a little bit more, explains that she's a Soul Reaper. And then she uses a high-level incantation to make Ichigo eat some floor. I believe she called it a keto. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, those will be important, Dan. Can you remember those?
Okay.
Those are Soul Reaper spells.
Yes.
Also, when he first calls to her, she ignores him, so he just kicks her in the spine.
Yes, that's true. She literally plants her foot in his foot in her back, and she goes, I'm not used to people seeing me. And he's like, well, I just kicked your butt, so clearly I could see you.
And then she activated the incantation that made him a bottom.
Then she said, sit, boy, sit. And Ichigo sat. It was very good.
Still better than Inuyasha.
Please do not spoil the audience on your opinion of Inuyasha. That'll be relevant when we start up that podcast 4 years from now.
$35,000.
Anyway, we get the, through incredibly beautiful drawings that Rukia makes, we get the introduction to holes that are good spirits and hollows that are bad spirits.
That is a Japanese thing, all right.
It's very cool.
It's like Elsie and Falsey.
Mm-hmm.
At least they used real words, so it makes it a little easier.
True. I wrote down here, the Hollow is chasing the C-tier animated girl from before and starts talking with the hilarious voice.
Yes.
This dub staff has the funniest voices for Hollows, including one of them that is just straight up Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
No.
He sounds exactly like him. It's some guy just doing that voice. It is nuts.
Let me see if it is the guy.
I really doubt it's the guy.
That'd be
It's
insane.
just clearly someone who's like, next time, Ichigo, next time.
Paul St. Peter.
And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
That's Zemnis.
Yeah, that's
Kingdom.
Zemnis. That's Zemnis.
And that's Soul Calibur God Pop.
That's really funny. That's really
like, I know this
going to
name.
adjust things. That's going to make adjustments to things that I was going to assess about this later.
good to know.
Up arrow.
So while this Hollow is smelling Ichigo and Rukia, they mentioned that the Hollow's motivations are unknown.
Ooh.
And also, Rukia tries to step out of Ichigo's room, and there's an amazing gust of wind that is spirit pressure. And Rukia says she is amazed by the spirit pressure of this jobber. It's one of the strongest she's ever felt. Ichigo breaks out of her keto, and she says it's too powerful for a human to break out of. If he tries, he'll damage his soul. I wrote right after that, he breaks out, whoa.
No way.
Well, yeah, 'cause
Look at
he's
all
big
the
and
Japanese
strong.
kanji that appears everywhere.
It was pretty crazy and sick and shit.
Oh man, we skipped over the really important scene earlier where we get introduced to Ichigo's mom, who's like a giant poster.
That's true.
Which is great.
Oh
I
yeah,
just
that was in the scene during domestic violence.
Yes.
Yes. Where I believe it's the same scene where Ichigo's sisters just start like
Yeah.
verbally harassing their dad. And then he's like, oh, they're so teenage now and mean. If only you were here. And then he puts his hand on a poster, I believe.
Yeah, but the giant wall scroll of their mom.
Now,
It's like
I
the
don't
shrine, I think, that Japanese houses have.
I don't
It's
know
a little more elaborate than that.
it's fucking enormous. It's like
Yeah, it's like a super version of that because he's a clown.
It's the size of 2 doors.
it's the size of 2 movie posters.
He's a clown.
It's huge.
Clown.
Now I'm gonna say, don't want to spoil myself on this because I don't quite remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to note that the fucking live action movie opens with a shot of his mother. So anyway, they show the poster of the mom, and I'm like, this is different. All right. The movie didn't prepare me for this introduction.
Yeah, for like having
God, that
looking
fucking
like
movie.
a character and having any sort of personality behind her introduction. A little weird.
I implore any Bleach fan who's listening to this, excited to see me go through it, go watch the live action movie so you can see my fucked up introduction to Bleach.
Oh God.
It is like a weird PS3 7th gen filter over the series.
It really is.
Get us back on track.
No, that's DMC, the DMC.
Yeah, thank God it isn't that. Good Lord. So anyway, as I said, Ichigo breaks out of it. Whoa.
Whoa, he's real strong.
The theory becomes that Ichigo's spirit power started to pour out when he touched the C-tier Ghost Girl's hand. And because of that now, because of his spirit power starting to pour out, the Hollows are after Ichigo. So he runs out in the street to distract the Hollow from his family who was attacked by it. And Rukia is not going to have that shit. So right as the Hollow is about to chomp down on Ichigo, Rukia leaps in the way and stabs it lightly while it bites deeply into her. And it's real bad. And Rukia falls over and it has like a tooth cut out of its face. The Hollow does. And Rukia goes, hey, you need to take my Zanpakuto and ram it into the center of your being so you can become a Soul Reaper. It will be temporary. And then we have a moment where he becomes super cool and she has no cool. And she goes, he nearly took all of my cool. He was only meant to take half of my cool. What happened? I've never...
And she's like, what is this weird theme music that's suddenly playing now?
And I have a direct
Why
quote.
aren't there lyrics? It feels like there should be lyrics.
It kind of felt like that.
Don't worry.
And then we have a direct quote that says, I've never seen a human wield such a huge Zanpakuto. As you might notice, my notes are very deliberately set up of, I think later this won't make sense. Let me write it down.
Yeah, no, this has a lot of that.
Okay,
Stop
here's what you do.
prescient.
Save those notes on Mondo Cool episode 37. We will be pulling these out.
Chugging Bleach 37.
No, we'll bring up a Mondo Cool as well.
We'll just be like, well, now that this
37
series...
episodes of that.
So you think?
Yes, there will be, because we're gonna watch everything twice.
No, it just rolls into the GT versus Super podcast.
Can Tapion beat Jiren?
And that is... I'm still wondering if Daltaki could take Jiren. It's very complicated. See, I think Jiren would say pedophilia isn't true strength.
How do you remember the name?
Because he was my breaking point for GT.
Yeah, no, he's scarring that much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to your breaking point here, especially because you can't cancel this show.
Okay, everyone, stop supporting the Patreon. Just stop.
Do not listen to Bob. Do not listen to Bob. He does not speak for us in this regard.
Dan just shuts down the Patreon.
No!
Could you imagine?
Not. wring your fucking neck, Gumby.
Please enjoy our meta narrative as we go into phase 2 of the GigaBoots podcast network, where KZ makes a Christmas album where he calls me a cuck.
I'll do that for free.
So that's the end of episode 1. I think it's an all right first episode. How do you guys feel though? Seasoned Bleach fans coming back to watch episode 1 of Bleach. Did it make you nostalgic, or was it just full of things where you go, that doesn't make sense?
Well, personally, I was nostalgic. I thought I enjoyed this, and other than it looking so bad, I really like it.
I was half nostalgic and half, man, this looks way worse than I remember.
I was very nostalgic and went, man, she sure is vomiting as much exposition as she can manage in this B part. I love this.
Yes.
At least having the drawings helps to have character to the vomit. So what's episode 2, Dan? Where'd we go?
So,
oh god, we have 4 more of these.
episode 2, Ichigo bumps into Orihime because he was late. It looked really light, but she fell over and ate shit.
And then he's like, are you afraid of me?
Yeah, basically, he was late for school.
The definitive shonen woman.
No, honestly, Orihime is dumber.
Honestly, I was amazed by her level of intellect on show here. It was
intellect.
It was
God
something.
I enjoy some of the goofiness that Orihime has, but it gets bad later on.
Are you serious? Wait, what do you mean later on? Oh my god, I don't.
Okay, Dan, you're gonna enjoy seeing her tits swell like fucking balloons.
Okay, so here's the thing. She shows up, and I went, now either every piece of art I've ever seen of Orihime is wrong, or they changed the character design at some point. Let me Google real quick. Okay, she has much bigger tits later on, I guess.
A little bit of that Helsing syndrome.
Yeah. One of her outfits just has a boob window later.
A little bit of that Kubo is fucking horny syndrome.
And by window, I mean garage door.
Wow.
And by tits, he means blimps.
So
they're crashing down.
Ichigo's confused, basically because everything seems fine, but the house was allegedly hit by a car.
Ruh-roh.
He runs to school that day, and the thing I just described happened. There's a shot of fucking Chad. My note says fucking Chad. That's it. Rukia runs into Ichigo at school, and when he starts freaking out because Rukia is now a class member alongside him, who's going to sit next to him, he looks down at her hand, which she turns the palm towards him, and it says, "Make a fuss and you're dead." That was a delightful moment. I like that idea. Hopefully Rukia is just as informative through text going forward. I want to see more drawings and more hand text.
Yeah, there are lots of drawings. So
if you like drawings, you're gonna like this.
Oh, that's good. Great. I tend to like animes that have drawings. So apparently we get the exposition that Ichigo has absorbed all of Rukia's Soul Reaper power, and she can't go back to the Soul Society. Rukia is entrapped inside of a Gigai, which is apparently some sort of body made by the Soul Society, because she starts complaining in a later episode that next time she better get a better one that has stronger legs and doesn't run out of breath so quickly.
Yeah, it's a replica from Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Well,
you may have that backwards, but
yes.
She has a cool glove that I've seen a lot at FYE and Hot Topic.
Yes.
I like those gloves.
Where she open palm strikes Ichigo's soul out with them. It's very cool, and his body is just unconscious on the ground, and they leave.
Yes, they just leave his corpse sitting around.
Yeah.
They look almost like gloves Ryuko is wearing in Kill la Kill. Like you could easily see her wearing them. They're great.
They do have a bit of the energy of that animation team, which I'm blanking on right now for some reason.
Trigger.
Thank you. Studio Trigger, yeah. Important note here, Rukia gets orders from the Soul Society on a flip phone.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
The latest in technology.
2004, baby.
Yeah, it's good to keep these details straight. I'm sure they'll stay consistent going forward. That's important. So they go to a park, and at this park, a kid's being chased by a giant hollow. She says, "Don't save the kid." She says something that boils down to, "Don't save the kid. Be willing to kill yourself to save everyone." And then he cuts off the legs of the giant hollow, and he says, "Oh man, this combat scene's a little rough." He cuts off the legs abruptly, and then he's like, "I didn't do that to save the kid. I did that because I wanted to. I'm a shonen hero in 2004. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm 15. This is what I think cool sounds like." And Bob, in the middle of this,
Kubo really liked Jotaro.
I mean, who doesn't? In the middle of this epic fight scene that is jarringly cut together with no sense of spatial reasoning whatsoever, Bob goes, "Digipaint was a mistake." I wrote this down verbatim.
When he cuts his legs off and the spider falls backwards, it fades away. I was like, I guess he died. And then he reappeared a second later. I'm like, what?
I guess he didn't. That's weird. Ichigo owns Rukia with facts and logics about feelings, and he says, "At the very least, I choose to be different." And I have a note here that has an arrow pointing to that phrase, and I said sugoi, because that's a very smart and cool thing he said.
God damn it.
Yes.
Sugoi.
He abruptly, after saying this cool phrase, looks at the kid ghost and goes, "Hey kid, if you don't want to get eaten, you better pass on," and just hits him with the hilt, assuming he knows exactly how that works.
He saw it
Yeah,
happen
where
once.
you hit him with the hilt, and then that just sends them to the afterlife proper.
Teleports them to Soul Society.
He saw it happen once, just like he saw someone drive a car once, and it goes, "Okay, I'm pretty sure I know how this works."
What's a Konso? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like how Goku could use the Kamehameha wave after seeing it once.
He's just that good.
Yeah.
So then we get a really great shot of after Ruki is impressed or upset or whatever emotion she's supposed to be having in that scene. Ichigo H-pose walks off with his arms broadly to the side and just craning. And he goes, "I'm gone," and just stomps off. And the animation is really good.
Yes, it reminded me of Ranma, so I was happy.
It does have a bit of that energy, yeah. And then we cut to Orihime in her bedroom, and she's being creeped on by a ghost, and it's pretty creepy. He's just floating midair, looking in her window. She closes the curtain, and he just looks a little sad. He's like, "Oh no, I can't creep on her anymore. I'm so sad." And then he gets grabbed by hollows, and digital music starts playing. And then the voice of the hollow...
They go to the music
Yes.
video dimension.
Yes, they do. They go to the music video dimension where it's like... And some dude who's voicing the hollow is doing the Dr. Claw voice, and he's like,
You want to see your sister? We'll get Ichigo this time.
and it's just the worst thing ever, and it made me laugh so hard.
I like the noise filter. It's really good.
It was really, really good. But after this voice that's a larger hollow commands a bunch of smaller spirit-looking things to jump on the dude, he explodes with energy and becomes a weird hollow that's a snake. And then, and then we cut to the next day when Ichigo just barely catches Orihime after a car seemingly hit her, and where she says she's fine and doesn't care, and it's okay. And then she literally becomes the Loituma meme. She becomes the Loituma meme and just spins an onion. And it's just the fucking... I could not... I thought that thing was animated by fans. That is literally the loop from the show. They just looped her spinning that fucking leak.
Yes. I forget if that invented that or not.
I think it did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where the origin point.
God, I was not
You're getting
expecting
cultured
that.
right now.
I didn't expect the origin of the exact first point of this meme to be a fucking unedited sequence in episode 2 of Bleach. Why would I expect that?
Sugoi.
But then people, I believe it was Rukia, notices she has marks on her legs, the kind of marks that hollows give people. Shortly after this, my notes are speeding up. So the creepers are brother, and it's very sad.
Yeah, definitely sad.
Yeah.
Definitely sad.
And then Rukia has, she said she was going home, and we cut to Ichigo sitting in bed, and Ichigo's sister comes in and bitches about her clothes going missing, and Ichigo's like, why are you talking to me about this? This ain't my problem. And then she leaves, and Rukia's phone goes off, and it turns out Rukia is living in Ichigo's closet, lol.
Very zany.
So then Rukia talks to Ichigo. They realize some shit, and they go to investigate Orihime just based on, the marks on her legs, I believe. And actually, no, the snake tries to attack Ichigo in bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bed gets destroyed, and then they're like, "Oh, that's actually her brother.
Yeah,
We should go check
yeah,
on her."
Yeah, he attacks it. It's like, no, I'm gonna CG out of here.
and then he goes, Shah! And just slides out of frame. But then they do a slight fade on him. It's very good. And then
You hear
Ichigo,
a slide whistle.
yeah, yes. And then Ichigo's like, okay, well, we got to get to Orihime's to protect her. So he runs on top of the phone line, which looks very cool. Rukia rides on his back. It's very cool. And then let's see.
And then the Inuyasha theme plays.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that
We gotta find the piece of the Shikon jewel.
I forgot to mention the part where the Hollow grabbed the Zanpakuto. That was an important thing. I didn't think they could do that, but they can do that. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, that's when his face shatters, shows the dead brother, and he disappears.
And then Rukia explains that they need to be wiped out, but doesn't explain that will send them to the Soul Society too. So it's the same thing.
Right.
Which is a weird thing, because then it's like, why is Ichigo so conflicted?
Yeah.
And then they end it by the end of the episode.
Yeah, we don't quite get the explanation there for at first or whatever. But I wrote a note here wondering if there would be a third type of soul and if it would be called jelly-filled.
Not yet, Dan. You're not there yet.
These are speculative thoughts I'm having. I'll have to check back in on these notes later.
Episodes.
And nope, there's the thing about jilted souls can become hollows, either by becoming so bitter and salty that they become hollows, or being converted by more powerful hollows.
Yeah, we get to learn about the ranking of hollows.
Yes. It's
It'll be very important
sometimes there are big ones. It's very complicated. But yeah, that basically, you have the fight scene, and we cut to the next episode. The next episode, turns out that Hollow is sending other Hollows to find Ichigo. They're also going to get Orihime. Orihime's friend that looks like Tomo for Azumangadayo comes over.
Yes.
And Tomo and her are hanging out, and it's totally hetero. And there's a teddy bear, and Orihime's holding it, and a claw from the Hollow splits the teddy bear and then stabs her in the chest, knocking her soul out and making her bleed out on the floor. Tomo starts freaking out, and
Her name's Totsuki. We need to stop.
Wait, what's her name?
Totsuki.
I like Tomo more. So Tomo,
She's great. That voice actress plays the same archetype in everything. I believe she also voices the girl with the horrible mouth from Danganronpa that Phil keeps posting.
oh God,
That's sad. That's not the same archetype.
Yeah, actually, they kind of are. They're like the Earthlete.
Oh God, I all I heard about the character in Danganronpa is that she was a man hater, not that half.
No, she's the master of Neo Aikido.
Oh,
Please go on. I just wanted to
Yes.
shoot people.
yeah. So we get another cool shot of the Creeper brother just sliding out of the scene and fading. Ichigo has been knocked out through the building in a fight that starts in the middle of Orihime's room. He can now just stand on air. When the fuck did this happen, and why did he run on a power line to get there if he could just run on air?
He can't run on air. He can't run on air. He can only stand on air.
What?
and they seem to only be able to stand on air in the human world.
What?
Yeah,
It's weird.
and only sometimes.
it's almost like there's no real rules around this. It's just how he draws it because it looks cool.
Dan, you're gonna have to get over this shit. This is episode 3?
This is baby shit, Dan.
Oh my god. So
Come on, you should have been prepared for this. You watched the live action movie.
it doesn't do that.
I think this is the
Yeah, they
least,
didn't have money.
this is the least explained thing in all of Bleach. One of them.
It is.
So
Cool. I'll
just-
keep this in mind going forward. Try to not think when people are flying. Got
right.
it.
It's usually for framing.
The jilted brother just starts saying some shit about like, don't come anywhere near my sister, blah blah blah, Orihime's mine. And then Ichigo, being a woman respecting sort of shonen protagonist, is like, Orihime is no one's. And then the older brother's like, what? How progressive. I feel owned.
Reddit told me something else.
Yeah, he was really confused, you can see.
He died 3 years ago and just been on Reddit ever since. It's really sad.
Can we talk about how bad Soul Society fucking sucks, apparently? We help souls pass on. This guy was just wandering around for years.
Look, Ricky got assigned here yesterday. There was no shift for the last 3 years.
Apparently.
Real bad.
And, you know, sometimes there's some oversight. It's like when a fast food place forgets to staff an overnight crew, and now it's one guy.
That's why there's 750 hollows in this 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer part of town.
There's a really good moment in this fight where it just stops animating and starts cutting between Ichigo's face and the Hollow's face, super zoomed in, like 6 times.
I knew you were gonna mention this because it was psychotic.
It was
they cut back and forth with zooms.
Yep, just
And what happened next made me die.
the Hollow chomps on Orihime. Is that what you're talking about? When she goes to stop it by sticking her arms mostly in its mouth and hugging it?
No, I was thinking of the part where Ichigo is doing the jumping slash and it keeps cutting between them and they're about to go and do the hit. But,
Yeah.
but then the Hollow like spits on him, so the whole thing was just to save animation time.
Yeah,
And
no.
then he says, and then Rukia goes, are you hesitating? And I'm like, no, he's falling. Gravity is slow in this universe.
Look, we need to get a certain episode time. That
Yeah.
had to happen.
Yeah, no, it's pretty brutal. I didn't realize fights in Bleach were like this. I'm kind
Oh
of...
boy, what do you mean?
Kinda floored.
You don't know. You don't know yet.
Oh, God. Stop telling
You
me.
don't know
And
yet.
just like nuclear testing. This seems safe as he walks into the empty field.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can start getting good fight scenes sometime in the Soul Society arc, and it happens in other than that, probably never.
Oh, well, anyway, they continue the fight between Ichigo and the Hollow, and Orihime goes to stop them from killing each other because she's upset. She doesn't want her brother, which she now realizes is her brother, to die. Because he said some really dumb shit like,
Don't you recognize my voice?
she's like, fucking no.
Let me touch your skin.
Yeah, no, it was, he asked for sugar water and then snapped his neck. It was really weird when he was like, why don't you recognize my voice, even though it has a sick-ass filter on it and I sound spooky.
These filtered voices sound better than Charles Amana.
Yeah, no, he wasn't like, I'm your brother. And then Orihime jumps in the middle, tries to hug him, sort of just shoves her entire arm into his mouth to hug his head. In this shot, Orihime's left arm is about 6 feet long because it's wrapping all the way around its head in a really awkward angle. So I've determined she might just have powers to suddenly have Lanky Kong's arms.
I need you to stop.
We need to move.
I confirmed, wrote down a note. Yep, Hollows can grab Zambaktos because it happened again. And then Bob, we
Yes.
get the explanation that Soul Reapers being owned, Soul Reapers owning Hollows means their souls pass on.
Yes, we finally get it now.
And then there's a moment of like, oh no, what's going to happen when Orihime remembers all of this? Because the fight resolves and Ichigo's victorious, but we cut to the next day and it turns out she just has her memory replaced by this lighter thing that has a little chick pop out of it that Rukia has. So when she does that, it replaces whatever happened with some random memory. So the next day, Orihime is telling a crazy story and none of her classmates believe her. It's very funny.
I'm like, oh yeah, she's a fucking bimbo, and everybody just turns away. I'm like, whatever.
And then Ichigo is like, I'm reticent, but I'm also a good guy, so I might just help by being a soul reaper. And he literally said that, trust me.
And then he jumped in the air and the credits played.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then our ending shot, where it's like the next time on Bleach, Orihime is talking to her brother or talking about her brother and spends the entire closing teaser talking about that instead of introducing Chad, what a bitch. Because there's shots of Chad on screen.
Next episode previews that are just comedy bits.
Right?
Yeah, no, those are good.
Those are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I like when Khan shows up well before he's introduced, and they're like, well, "Get out of here! You're not even introduced yet."
I know. I'm pretty destroyed by that actually, because we only watched 5 episodes.
I'm still being destroyed at the Quentin Flynn is Khan thing.
It's very exciting.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. So
Quentin Flynn is the mascot character.
This next thing, because it's building out the lore of the universe, this is a 2-parter. It's doing a little bit less building out the lore of the universe and a little bit more of just being a shonen anime, so we can speed through it pretty fast. There's a cursed cockatiel that Chad receives from someone who's like, oh, it's cursed. And he's like,
It's cursed.
he's like, ooh, I like bird. And then a fucking I-beam falls on him and he's fine.
Yes. Chad is great.
Chad is just really strong.
He's just
I love Chad.
pouring blood out of his fucking head. And they're like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I like birdie. And then the bird's like, my name is Shuichi Yamada. Thank you, Chad. And then it's just like, ooh, my name is Sado Yastora. Or Chad. Or Chado. We then cut back to Ichigo. We're having a moment where him and Rukia are sitting there. And then his third wheel of a simp friend shows up and he's like, hey, are you two an item? And he's like, no, we're not an item. We're just here. Please stop doing this. And he's like, people are going to say you and Rukia are an item. And he goes, if I cared what people thought, I would have dyed my hair black a long time ago. And then he introduces his simp friends, introduces himself to Rukia. And Ichigo says the least believable thing in the show so far. He says he may look like a dork, but he's a real player.
No, that's real.
That just means he's an annoying sex pest. He doesn't actually succeed.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I wouldn't call him a real player. I would not use that phrasing.
Also, this entire scene, Rukia is trying and failing to figure out how a juice box works.
Yes, these are the important details. She can't figure out.
I'm glad that even in the mid-2000s, they knew that if there's a loud dipshit character, Yuri Lowenthal must be voicing that character.
He can't escape it.
Yes.
There's a really good moment when Chad shows up when we're having a conversation here with Simp and Rukia and Ichigo.
Oh, yeah.
Chad shows up and he looks scuffed. He's got bandages on him. And they're like, Chad, are you okay? And he's like, I was hit by a motorcyclist. I had to take him to the hospital because he was hurt really bad.
What it was like, what happened? So it happened.
No.
There's like such a large gap that I thought my episode died.
So that was the next bit we're going into where he has the bird and someone goes, hey, explain the cockatiel. And he's like, someone gave me him. And there's like a 15
That gap was
pause.
3 times longer in the episode.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's so good.
No movement either. So I had the remote in my hand going, what happened? Did the internet die?
I fucking lost it.
And then
It was
like
too
other
good.
friends get onto him for you're cutting the story short again.
Cut the story short. There's more to it than that. He's like, nope, that's how it went. Someone gave me this bird. But then what happens is this cursed cockatiel apparently is causing Chad more problem because Chad ends up in the hospital after a hollow injury, specifically the clinic run by Ichigo's dad. and is carried in there by Ichigo's little sisters. Which is also one of the least believable things because Chad's like 7 feet tall.
Right, he's probably
They're
over
really
300
strong.
pounds.
A lot of things defied logic to me. Like when Ichigo's dad's in response to Ichigo saying, "What should I do?" He's like, "Get in the fetal position somewhere in the room," and then he did it.
Yeah, it's like get in the fetal position and stay out of the way. And then he did that. It was the funniest shit. It's a really good relationship between him and his dad.
Yep.
But overnight, as Chad stays in the clinic to recover from his giant bleeding back hollow injury, I guess Chad sneaks out with the bird. And
It's just a little blood. I don't have to worry.
yeah, he doesn't have to worry.
Yeah, he needs to go to the abandoned warehouse to protect the bird.
Yeah, he has to go to the abandoned warehouse to protect the bird. And Ichigo's trying to find out where they went. So he closes his eyes and he starts doing the Valkyrie profile thing when you hit select.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to sense the bird soul. And Rukia's like, what? Only a high-level soul reaper should be able to sense such a weak soul in this bird from so far away.
We get the spirit ribbons.
Oh, that's true. We had these ribbon-looking things, like very bright, made of light, perhaps. It was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then once Ichigo senses where the bird is, him and Rukia start taking off in that direction. But then you find, what was it, Karin?
Yeah.
Ichigo's little sister Karin's like walking along the road and sort of freaking out or whatever, since she had a premonition as she slept about not video games, which is weird around these parts, but instead about this bird soul in the hollow that was after it. And Rukia goes, "Hey, Ichigo, you gotta take your sister home. You gotta make sure she's safe. Otherwise, the hollow is gonna use your sister to get to you." I'd like to note, none of this shit's in the movie, if I remember correctly.
No,
we haven't
of
hit
course
a
not.
single other thing that's in the movie yet, I don't believe.
The movie's
Wow,
insane.
it's
Yes,
almost
it is.
like the movie is bad.
It's almost like that.
Let's not
Mama.
introduce our characters. Let's just jump to the end of this arc and without any explanation. That's what the movie is.
It literally is that. So Ichigo runs off with he protests at first. And then there was an important sentence that I wrote down.
Mhm.
Rukia says, "No, do that, otherwise you're going to get distracted." And then she goes, "A veteran soul reaper never takes risks with a hollow," which aged like milk in this single episode. And I feel like we'll get funnier as time goes on.
I mean, she already
It's
screwed that up
it's
in
gonna
episode
be
1.
yogurt in like a month.
Exactly. It's just going to be yogurt.
It's just what she says, and it's
And she's fucking lying.
yes, she just is.
Okay, next things that I enjoyed. So the bird's soul is of this child that saw its mother get murdered in front of it. And after this is revealed, the hollow goes, "Time to eat your soul," and tries to eat, I believe he was going after Rukia, yeah, and she does a cool jump dodge, like a little backflip thing.
Yep.
So I need to explain. Hollow goes forward and tries to chomp. Rukia does a cool back dodge flip. It's not even that impressive, like a gymnast could do it. And then he goes, "Oh, you're still alive."
I'm so fucking dumb. I didn't realize I missed.
You can see me, and you're quite good. I'm noticing the hollows have really low bars for people.
Yeah, no, they are simps.
I have no context details here at all, but it just says, "Oh no, her spell didn't work." I think it's funnier if I have absolutely no context.
She does that flying knee to his face and then jumps over and does a spell, and then it's weak because she doesn't have any power.
And then she goes,
Yeah.
"My powers are back," and then it did nothing.
right,
Yeah.
it's like it clearly not, but okay, man.
Then that episode ends, and then we get into the next episode where shit gets really good. However, there's even less plot this time, so this barely takes any time at all. We get a backstory on how Karin doesn't cry anymore because she doesn't want to worry the family ever since her mother died, but she's crying right now, so this is the real shit.
I liked part of that that introduction to her backstory because it involved them saying Karin, who wasn't good at anything.
Yes. Yes. It's really funny because the other sister is playing mom. You know, she's housekeeping and everything else. But Karin, quite bluntly, as the anime states, isn't good at anything.
It's rough.
It is really rough. Chad shows up where Rukia is getting owned by this hollow and just starts punching the air and he just socks the hollow right in the goddamn face, even though he can't see it. And he goes, "Hey, I hit something."
The
All
hollow flies
right.
back like 10 feet.
That was the bit. I died where he's like, I hit something.
All right. It is
Chad's so
good.
fucking raw.
He is. I like Chad a lot. Then there's a moment of you're not going to be able to hit him anymore. He's flying in midair. And then he goes, "Nah, you just need to tell me where he is." And he wraps his arms around a telephone pole and rips it out of the ground.
He snaps it off the base.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts.
And the hollow pisses itself. Like, what the fuck?
That made this episode where this hollow's like, what the fuck is happening? Constantly.
Yeah, this hollow has the worst luck in the world to run into fucking Chad,
Yeah, who's stronger than Rukia.
which is insane and makes no
Hit
sense
him
to
at
me.
least twice by accident.
Mm-hmm. But it's really good. He swings the telephone pole at him and swats him down, and then tries to punch him some more by swinging wildly at air. There's a good moment where they're like, "Oh, he's airbound. He's in the air again, and there's no way you can punch him now." And that telephone pole's lying down. We need a better strategy. And Rukia is like, "Oh, I've got one." And then it cuts to Chad, who is 7 feet tall, holding a balled up Rukia, who's just crouched in his arms and is going to launch him into space. And I was like, this is me and Toast trying to take a photo together. She's like 4'8".
Again, yeah, she says something to the effect of like, your strength with my superior intellect.
Yes, that was really good.
I think the Chad's comeback was better, where he's like, "Well, you must be smart because this seems really dumb."
Yes.
Yes.
Because as far as I can tell, this is really dumb. But yeah, no, there's a moment where there are leech bombs and there's weird frogs and leech bombs that this hollow is spitting out and exploding with his tuning fork tongue, and he puts it all over this bird cage, and he says he's gonna blow it up if Chad interferes again, and he'll kill this bird/child. So it needs to be a fight just between Rukia and the hollow. And Rukia, hearing this from the hollow, says, "Do as he says." And now Chad, I guess, could have heard the hollow? When did that happen? I could have sworn Chad didn't hear a single thing the hollow said this whole time.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
I didn't think about that part.
Neither did I.
It was just funny because this entire fight, he clearly can't hear the hollow at all. But the moment the hollow gives an ultimatum, Rukia goes, "Do as he says," and he goes, "Okay."
It makes me want to go back to the manga and see if they put it into the anime wrong.
Possibly. So I have literally 2 notes left for the entire rest of the episode. I have to inject some sort of transitionary statements. So Rukia runs and runs and runs. Ichigo shows up. There's a fight. Ichigo owns the shit out of this hollow. Turns out the hollow was the one who murdered the child's mother in front of him. And in the most insane explanation ever, the hollow told this boy that if he took on the body of a bird and fled from him for 3 months, he would bring his mother back from the dead. And what was it? Ichigo's like, "You can't do that, can you?" And he goes, "No, of course I can't." And I went, "Yeah, that's a different anime this season." They can't do it too well either.
Yeah, and also, this makes sense that he would be such a dipshit when they say, "Yeah, I killed his mother, and then I fell 20 stories because a child grabbed my shoelace."
Yeah, no, that was...
Also, we completely skipped over this hollow having the most insane power that I know is rapidly comes off more sane compared to what happens next. But I can summon leeches, and then I click my weird tuning fork tongue, and they explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
He summons frogs that cut into...
That turn into leeches
that
that
are filled with
explode into
leeches.
bombs.
Yes.
That's why his name, according to the wiki, is Shrieker.
Oh, okay. Now it seems okay.
And then Ichigo punches through his teeth like it's a Banjo-Tooie stage opening.
Oof.
So Ichigo's had enough of his shit, owns the hell out of this hollow, and in the only important note left for the rest of this episode, apparently bad souls go to souls go to hell through this badass bad guy door to hell door.
Yes.
It is
Please
incredible.
look forward to when we cover the final Bleach movie.
Yeah, look forward to when it gets any more about it in that final Bleach movie.
Yes.
What the fuck are
In
you
the
kidding?
final Bleach movie, Bleach movie 4, Hellverse.
There is never any canonical reference to hell ever again.
What?
Yeah, right?
Are you fucking serious?
That's why that movie's so
Why
good.
do you have to shoot Dan right now? Why'd you have to shoot
this
him
is
like
the
that?
this. Oh my
I went
god!
to the Bleach wiki right now to make sure. It says overview ends. It's just a description of this arc, and there's nothing else.
Oh my god! Oh, this was one of the coolest things of these episodes. The door's so huge and badass, and as the door opens and still has a chain, so that way it can't open too much, a giant blue arm stabs this fucker with the fucking sword, kebabs his ass, and pulls him to hell. It was
Kinda raw.
really cool.
If it helps, Kubo was deeply involved with that movie, so it was probably just stuff he wanted to use but didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels like the most canon movie there is.
How long do I have to wait till we watch this movie?
4 years.
Here's the reference of how far away it is, Dan. The music used in that movie was used for the final season of Bleach because they came out around the same area.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
Just the rest of the time they're dealing with good souls, I guess.
What a wonderful stroke of luck. Keep going.
No, that's basically it
I'm
for
sorry,
this episode.
I'm sorry, 5 years.
That's basically it, really. If anyone has any notes or anything that picks up after that, feel free to go ahead. But
there was a weird side plot we completely disregarded where Karin is sick because she got the memories from the child, and then when the child passes on, we cut to her in bed going, "Thank you, Ichigo," for no reason.
True.
Presumably, she was still getting a feed of his memories.
Right. Okay. And that's it for the first 5
There we go.
episodes of Bleach.
Thank God. All right, now that the summary's over, it's time for our segments, just like all our podcasts. Our first segment, Best Dressed for this 5 episodes.
Who has the tightest clothing?
Phil, you seem enthusiastic. You go ahead and start.
Okay, Ichigo's dad with his horrible shirt that with like red polka dots. I think that's the most notable outfit that I thought was the best in these 5 episodes. Specifically when he tries to attack Ichigo in bed and Ichigo murders him by slamming the back of his head into the floor.
It's fine. KZ, who was the best dressed in your opinion?
Chad, he had like some Hawaiian shirt ass shit going on, and I think that was pretty good.
Yes, solid outfit.
That was all right.
He's not going to use it anymore because you got blood on it, but
Right.
I'm sure he has more Hawaiian shirts. It's fine.
He's basically
Damn it,
Eric.
he's the character that wears Hawaiian shirts only.
I'll go ahead and go. Let's see. The streak flows that Ichigo has, where he's got like a shirt that's a little too small for him, so you can see a little bit of midriff. Like, this is kind of crazy. Where'd this come from?
He's very fashionable
He's an
for a
e-boy.
15-year-old. Very fashionable.
What do you got, Dan?
Obviously, I don't know how you all slept on this one. Kisuke Urahara was in the Next Time On segment as a single JPEG that bounced up and down. He was the best. Look at that hat. That
always
hat
is.
was incredible.
Yes, you are correct.
Unmatched.
I was a little disappointed he didn't show up in any episode.
Do we have to vote on who won?
No, we
Okay.
just make our argument.
Okay.
Yes. People in the comments sound off.
Yeah, that's what's important.
With that out of the way, let's review the opening and endings for this set.
This is important for anime.
Yes.
It is.
I'll go ahead and say I think opening is great. The Orange Rang, I think, does the song.
It is Asterisk by Orange Range.
Yeah, this song's pretty good to play DDR2, Step Mania. You know, it's a pretty good opening. I feel
Real
like
great in Osu.
it's real good in Osu. I feel like one
I
verse
do have
is really
this track
good.
on Osu. I do.
I knew it. It's one verse is really, really strong, and that's enough to carry a whole opening sometimes. You just want to hear that one part.
I think
Nice poppy art.
it's
Yeah.
cool to see all the different outfits.
We're already at at Kubo being like, they're in cool clothes and the camera spins around them. That's the opening. That's my pitch.
Yes.
He was
Got
right.
me feeling a sort of way.
Anybody else have anything to say about the opening?
No, I think just it looks pretty pleasant. It doesn't look super terrible. I think the largest part that looks a little weird is I think it was Orihime's hair just going sicko mode as her face is perfectly still. That was a little strange looking, but
It was a
Don't worry,
choice.
they call back to that in multiple openings later.
oh my god. But yeah, that's about it.
And then we got the ending.
The ending, which is titled "Life is Like a Boat."
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This song is like a tugboat.
This song stuck with me all these years. I was really
Yeah,
surprised to look
bad?
it up. Yes, because it was that bad.
I'm sorry.
I was surprised to look it up and be like, this is only 13 episodes, and it scarred me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all of them are like a normal season of 13.
Even weirder than it just being a bad song is that it's a bad song and then ends with the songstress going,
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. Currently, because the new season of Bleach isn't here yet. There are still 29 more endings to go through.
Don't
sure are.
stop giving me a sense of scale. Thank
Right?
you.
This is a lot. Oof. It's also just still pictures sliding.
Yeah.
It's really the lowest budget of endings possible.
It's one of those endings that really defines why most people like openings more than endings. It is really providing the lowest bar possible for an ending. It's a bad song. It doesn't have great animation. Yeah, not good. I hope this is the worst ending in Bleach.
Hopefully.
I don't even
I'm
remember any of the others.
I'm looking at a couple.
I'm not even going to look until we get to them. I want to be surprised again.
Same.
So I guess we should move on. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Bob.
Is this better than the live action Bleach movie?
Yes, and it's resoundingly better than the first 80%, because if I remember correctly, the last 20% becomes inexplicably cool compared to the rest of it.
Yeah, for some reason, the end of that movie is actually pretty good.
Like it changed directors, even.
Yeah, very strange.
But yeah, I'm going to say between Chad taking an I-beam and being fine, and Ghost Bird and all the stupid bullshit around that, this is much better than the live-action Bleach movie.
Yet somehow has a similar runtime, I imagine.
Yes.
Good to hear. We got one more for you, Dan.
Yeah.
How excited are you to continue watching Bleach on a scale from 1 to 10?
So, I hear I'm not going to see that badass door to hell basically
Goddamn.
virtually ever again.
Right.
Ever again.
That has demotivated me a bit. And also hearing that this ending will go on for 8 more episodes has demotivated me a bit. I'm going to have to give this the relatively lukewarm, just kind of warmed up number of 7. Like I'm pretty interested in seeing more, but I'm a little depressed by this information I'm getting about how flight isn't going to be explained. This door shit's not going to be explained. For all I know, they're done. The Bird episode, for all intents and purposes, was the Chad-centric episode. We're probably getting episodes about other characters that are going to be introduced, which means less Chad, which makes me also a little sad. So I'm going to say 7. I'm still looking forward to it, but I'm not like sitting on the edge of my seat being like, I need this thing.
You need to be introduced to the character you said was best dressed.
Yeah, no, I hope he doesn't disappoint me. I
don't think so.
I know nothing about Urahara.
All
He
right.
has a hat.
Yeah, so
He has a hat. That's all I know.
That's a fair assessment, I
Yep.
feel.
I don't even think I've played a Bleach fighting game before.
They were like,
You should play Bleach Dark Souls for the DS.
yes, please, Dark Souls. It got out before Dark Souls. It's great.
It did.
They should sue, clearly.
Clearly.
Yeah. But you should wait though. That adapts the second arc.
All right. Feel, I hear you've picked out some insane trivia for me.
Oh no.
So I have here is a good segment. I have declared it's a good segment.
Okay.
Every episode,
I do
I
that.
will have one piece of Bleach related trivia but sometimes I will have just made it up. Because this trivia is insane. And everybody else has to go around and they have to guess whether or not it's real or fake based on their knowledge of Bleach and their impressions. And here is the first piece of trivia. According to Kubo, Ichigo's theme song is News from the Front by Bad Religion.
I'll go first. I buy that.
Okay, we have a reel. KZ?
Yes.
Dan?
I'm going to say it's false.
Bob and KZ are right. Kubo said this in his character profile in Volume 1.
I felt like I had read that somewhere.
Oh my god.
Okay, now I only know this because toward the end of when Bleach was ending, they do Shonen Jump like author comments on every time the magazine comes out, where the author will just talk about something. And all it said was, I just binged Beverly Hills 90210 on DVD. And I'm like, this absolutely fits you.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. What a Chad. Okay, we're through the segments. Time for everyone's final thoughts in our, as KZ has called it, the tightness scale, which goes 0 to 25. The whole idea is we're going to add up to 100% if this was amazing, but if not, it can go disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not keeping a record of what got what. Don't ask.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just the amount of episodes we watched, so it's a regional score. It's not per episode.
We're not even keeping a document where we tell you what set of episodes got what. Listen to the show.
I might actually do it for me just because I like looking at those.
I like sheets. I like spreadsheets.
Yeah, I actually like spreadsheets a lot. I like perspective. Initially, I was going to propose it'd be 1 to 25, but I believe it was Dan who said, no, give me the option to shoot it.
We need that 0. They need to know.
Look, sometimes you want to hit hard rock bottom. You want to just say, no, there were no points scored this time. I don't know how South Bleach is going to go by the end. I literally have no idea.
Yeah, that means you have to be very careful with your scores.
I'll go first.
All right.
Set a standard for everyone to go against.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it an 18. I liked a lot of this, but the animation is so bad, it's hard to deal with. Other than that, I really enjoyed these.
I'm going to go ahead and say this is about a 15. It isn't bad. It isn't completely middle of the road, but there's some good, funny moments that are countered by absolutely terrible fight scenes. And as Bob kept saying, some digipaint keeps invading the anime.
Oh no!
So I'm going to say it's about a 15. You know, it's not terrible. It's pretty good watching material. There's definitely room to improve. Also, that ending's bad.
Yes, that ending is bad. How about you, KZ?
I thought that this was all right. I'll probably give it like 15 as well, because the fight scenes weren't the best. Some of the art was rough, but overall, I think everything else established itself very well, and I like Chad a lot, so that entire 2-parter was really good, very hilarious. But yeah, I think 15 is where I'm going to be at.
Sounds good. Feel?
I'm going to give this 16. I thought it was pretty good, except for the parts where it looked real bad. There's a shot where Orihime and Tatsuki, her not gay friend, are just looking at the door and they're in front of it, but the door is like coming closer.
Yes.
They're doing a zoom on the door with like them cut out in front of it, and it looks really dire.
I keep remembering that scene where it's a zoom in of Orihime in the window, and it's like, this looks terrible. And then it zooms out and shows her brother. It's like, oh, that's why. And they do it like 2 or 3 times.
So what did you give it, Feel?
16.
That puts it at 64 for everyone. 64%. It's a good starting place, right?
It could be worse.
It could.
It could be worse. So it's all right. You know, I'm optimistic for the future of this. There's definitely room to improve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Join us next time for Chugging Bleach next month. Bye, everybody.
I wouldn't have it end any other way.
This GigaBoots video was brought to you by the arcane powers of our executive producers, Esme, Nicholas Cameron, E. Lee Broyles, Starfalcon, Spaceman Spiff, Danny Richardson, Red Blaze 27, and 32X Wen. Thank you very much to our powerful executive producers. And also these guys. If you like this video and want to lend us your power, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.